Nearly 2,000 years ago, when forests were classrooms and silence was the loudest teacher, a young seeker walked toward the ashram of Patanjali. He had practiced postures, he had controlled his breath, he had read sacred texts and memorized verses, yet his life still felt scattered. His mind obeyed him sometimes, his habits followed him occasionally, his peace came rarely. With folded hands and restless eyes, he asked a single question. Gurudeva, what is the true meaning of discipline in yoga? Patanjali did not answer immediately. He looked at the sky. He listened to the wind move through the trees. He watched the seeker breathe. Then he spoke.
Most people, Patanjali began softly, think discipline means forcing the mind to obey. They believe yoga is about crushing desire, conquering thoughts, and battling the self. He smiled gently. But tell me, he asked the seeker, how long can a man fight himself and still remain whole? The seeker lowered his head. Patanjali continued. True discipline is not violence toward the mind. It is friendship with it. Discipline in yoga does not mean waking up early out of fear. It does not mean practicing asanas while hating the body. It does not mean suppressing emotions and calling it spirituality. That is not discipline. That is conflict. And conflict, even in the name of yoga, only creates more suffering. Patanjali picked up a leaf fallen on the ground. This leaf did not fall because it was lazy, he said. It fell because its season was complete. Then he looked at the seeker. You exhaust yourself not because life is hard, but because you keep responding to what is urgent while ignoring what is essential. The seeker listened closely. Discipline in yoga means choosing clarity over constant stimulation, choosing depth over distraction, choosing long-term peace over short-term pleasure. A disciplined yogi does not ask, what do I feel like doing right now?
He asks, what supports my awakening? This choice, made again and again, becomes discipline. Not force, not punishment, but direction. The seeker asked, then Gurudeva, should I follow strict rules? Patanjali replied, rules are useful for those who are asleep. Truth guides those who are awake. Yoga discipline is not blind obedience to routines. It is alignment with reality. If you eat less, not because a book told you to, but because your body feels light and clear, that is discipline. If you wake early, not because guilt pushes you, but because silence calls you, that is discipline.
If you let go of a habit, not because it is sinful, but because it clouds awareness, that is discipline. When discipline comes from understanding, Patanjali said, it never feels heavy. Patanjali then spoke of the foundation of yoga, yama and niyama. People want samadhi, he said, but they ignore how they speak, eat, desire, and react. True discipline begins before meditation. Ahimsa, non-violence, not just toward others, but toward yourself. No harsh self-talk, no inner cruelty.
Satya, truth, living honestly, even when lies are convenient. Brahmacharya, not suppression of desire, but wise direction of energy. Saucha, purity, keeping body, mind, and intention clean. Tapas, the fire of consistency, showing up even when the mind resists. These, Patanjali said, are not moral rules, they are psychological technologies. When life is aligned, the mind naturally becomes steady. That steadiness is discipline. The seeker confessed, "Master, I begin practices with enthusiasm, but when boredom, fear, or doubt arises, I stop." Patanjali nodded. This is where yoga truly begins. Discipline is not required on days of motivation. Anyone can practice when the mind agrees.
Discipline is required when meditation feels dry, when progress seems invisible, when the ego whispers, "This is useless." At that moment, Patanjali said, "Do not seek results, seek presence. Sit anyway, breathe anyway, observe anyway, not aggressively, not desperately, but faithfully." This gentle persistence reshapes the mind more than any intense effort. Many say, Patanjali continued, "I don't have time for yoga." He smiled again. "You have time, you lack attention. A disciplined yogi may practice for 10 minutes, but with total presence. An undisciplined one may practice for hours with wandering thoughts."
Yoga discipline means returning attention again and again, not judging the mind for wandering, simply guiding it back like a mother guiding a child. Each return is discipline. Each return is victory. The seeker hesitated and asked one final question. "Gurudeva, if discipline asks so much of me, how is it freedom?" Patanjali's eyes shone. "Look at your life," he said. "Are you free when your mood depends on others, your peace depends on circumstances, your happiness depends on stimulation? That is not freedom. That is bondage with decoration. Discipline removes these chains quietly. It does not take joy away. It removes what blocks joy. A disciplined mind," Patanjali said, "can rest wherever it is placed. That is freedom."
As the sun began to set, Patanjali concluded, "Discipline in yoga is the art of staying awake in your own life, not forcing, not fighting, not escaping, but showing up with sincerity, patience, and compassion. When discipline matures, it no longer feels like discipline. It feels like love for truth." The seeker bowed. He had not received a method. He had received a direction. And that direction quietly changed his life.